Detroit Public Schools has announced several major educational initiatives for schools in Southwest Detroit, including a new dual immersion high school program, new adult education site, a new gifted and talented program, and much more, following a community engagement process with many parents, students, partner organizations, and agencies in Southwest Detroit. Through our new 5-year strategic plan initiated in 2013, we've implemented many bold and courageous changes to benefit our students, staff, parents, stakeholders, and employees because we realize that all of these individuals are our customers and the product they seek is a high-quality public education for our students, said Emergency Manager Jack Martin. Let's look at 2 specific initiatives for Southwest Detroit. First, a brand new high school program. Detroit Public Schools is expanding the Academy of the Americas pre-K to 8 to include a 9th grade in the fall at a new site. This high school will offer a dual language curriculum, honors classes, and rigorous academic standards. Here is principal of the Academy of the Americas and the principal this fall of the new dual immersion high school, Nicholas Brown.
When the Academy of the Americas was first thought of 22 years ago, it was always thought of that it would eventually be a K-12 project. Primarily, the function we serve is to ensure that students have the opportunity to be bilingual and biliterate in Spanish and English, whether they be English speakers or native Spanish speakers. And so the best way to do that would be for the students to start in kindergarten and then continue that all the way to 12th grade. And now we finally have an opportunity to realize that dream and extend students' academic language in both languages all the way to 12th grade.
Why dual language immersion? We have a community that has a tremendous asset of a second language, Spanish. And we believe that having young people that are fluent in 2 languages will really add to their opportunities in this world that we're in right now with global economy and so forth. So many years ago, we started the Academy of the Americas. I was part of the original team of professionals and community people that developed the school. At that time, I was working as a staff developer of Detroit Public Schools. And the dream at that time was that the school was going to add a grade and grow all the way to 12th grade. But for many years, nothing came up with the high school. So this year, when we heard that DPS was interested in continue the model and open a 9th grade, that was a great opportunity for us to come together. And what you see is many agencies and organizations in the community in Southwest Detroit that were glad to join in with DPS to develop the high school from the ground up.
Western right now is the only high school presence that DPS has in Southwest Detroit, which, as you know, is a growing community with tons of kids that are showing up here every day. And so there's an opportunity for us to capture and to continue to educate a lot of kids in this area, and particularly to offer something different than Western, which is an opportunity for kids to continue to develop in Spanish at a high academic level. So they would be able to finish 12th grade with an advanced level of proficiency in Spanish as well as English.
Why is it important to you that your daughter continue to learn both English and be fluent in Spanish?
Porque es importante para ti que yo sepa los 2 idiomas.
Para que no tengas miedo y no sepas lo que te están diciendo en inglés. Y que
So when I have her age, I can know what they're talking about, not like her.
Y sos 2 personas en una.
So it's like 2 people in one.
This is not about other high schools. This is about continuing what we have at the Academy of the Americas and to let the youth get to 12th grade. This is about offering this opportunity that they might leave high school already with college level proficiency in a second language, where we can have a very small school, where we can do really a strong curriculum very rigorous curriculum that is focused on each individual, where we can look at the elements of the culture of Latin America. Now, this is not a school for Latinos. This is a school for anyone that really wants to become totally fluent in two languages. And you see this sometimes, this type of approach, either in very wealthy communities where folks go to school and become fluent immersed in French and other language, or in other areas of the country. But in Michigan, I don't think we have many, I don't think you have any high school that works on the dual language model.
Why is it important to you to continue to learn Spanish as well as English?
You could get a better job learning two languages. And because if there's people that don't know how to speak English, I could just translate, or Spanish also.
Much like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, the importance of it's happening right now.
One of the things that we're known for, the thing we're known for, is for our students when they finish 8th grade here to have a pretty decent level in terms of being able to speak, read, and write in English and Spanish, which in turn leads to opportunities later on in life, as you know, being we live in a global society, global economy, and there are more opportunities for people who speak a second language as opposed to a first language. Also developmentally, studies show that over time, kids who are learning in both languages tend to develop faster and also better academically over time, particularly around the middle school years is where you see a big jump, 7th and 8th grade, and then that just continues on. So it's a great opportunity for us to really take our students to a lot higher level of academic learning, and also to really truly prepare them for professional opportunities where they'd be able to utilize both languages. So in terms of the transition from one to the other, it's important, being my familiarity with the program, I've been involved with it for 13 years, to be part of the transition to the high school, so that families know that the same level of continuity, customer service, and knowledge, is involved in both projects. So our families feel comfortable knowing that what they've come to enjoy here at the academy, they can expect also in the high school. And for people who have heard but haven't had an opportunity to participate, this opportunity is there for them too, because the high school is not just to serve academy students, but there are students all across Detroit, Southwest in particular, who know Spanish but don't have an opportunity to really explore it and expand on it further than they would going to other high schools. So our charge is really to capture as many kids, whether they be from Clippard, whether they be from Munger, Earhart, Flicks. It's an opportunity for them to really capitalize on expanding their second language ability.
This is about creating opportunities for our youth that come in with this great asset of a with a second language culture to flourish. This is about really having the youth in Detroit the opportunities to compete in the global market. Because there's a difference between just speaking Spanish, but then to be totally fluent. We're planning here to have really almost college level, that by 12th grade, if our dream comes true, that we partner with universities and so forth, that they might leave 12th grade already with college credits in Spanish, at the same time with a very strong STEM-based curriculum, so that they are really prepared for college, career life. Now think about it. We have in this global economy the emerging markets in Latin America. Look at GM, Ford, and all that. They have a lot happening in terms of Latin America. When we look at folks that are connecting with that, not only within the United States with Spanish being a second, but the opportunity. So if you have an engineer, highly qualified, that is also fluent in Spanish, that raised that person's employability. And we are looking at this youth here that comes in with that cultural knowledge and language background. We need to grow what we have.
We know that there's going to be a partnership with Western High School to make sure that the young people that do want to participate in the sports programs have that opportunity at Western. In regards to the other nonprofit entities, there's sports, there's dancing, there's arts, there's leadership development. There's a wide array of opportunities available in Southwest Detroit for those students to take advantage of. So it behooves us to work with the principal, Nicholas Brown, to see what the needs are of those students so that we can be very specific and strategic and reaching out to our nonprofit members to say, you know what, the school needs an art program, who's able to provide that? The school needs a dance program, who's able to provide that? And be able to expand the plethora of opportunities available in Southwest to those students so they can take advantage of them.
Yeah, they should definitely come in with some degree. It doesn't have to be an advanced level. We are offering a 50-50 dual language immersion program there, which means half of their classes would be in English, half would be in Spanish. As of right now, they would be getting Spanish language arts, social studies would be taught in Spanish, and also an elective would be taught in Spanish. Science, English, and mathematics would be taught in English in that first year. So in order to be successful in that second half, they should come with a degree, although it doesn't have to be advanced level. Or even intermediate at a high level. They should come at least being able to understand and speak to a degree, and we'll offer support wherever they are in their Spanish language proficiency to be able to assist them and continue to grow them. So they should come with some, which is why we're going to recruit at places like Flicks, where the kids have had some Spanish there and may look to expand on that and grow that and develop that ability.
One of the things that I think is critical for all children is really an education that is broader than the here and now. And we have sometimes been very parochial on what we educate our children. The world is not what it was 20, 30 years ago. And if you think about a youth that is in high school right now, or in 5th grade or 8th grade, so say project ahead, what would be the labor market for that person 10, 15 years from now? And we cannot prepare our youth based on what we know. It has to be based on what we imagine they'll need to know. And I think we're imagining now that in order to succeed in this post-industrial world that we're in, you need to have some abilities that go beyond basic literacy. You need to be able to communicate well. You need to have a deep understanding of math, science, social studies, and you need to be a global citizen. And language is a key element in terms of broadening your horizons and communicating in different ways. So I wish we could offer this to every single child in the United States. But you have to start with a small step, and that's our small step, the Academy of the Americas.
We want to give our kids really the best chance that we can provide. That's kind of all we're promised in life, is just an opportunity. And what we do with those opportunities is up to each individual. But it's our responsibility as educators to provide the opportunities, to provide the chances, which is one thing that makes DPS very special, is that you look across that roster and there's an opportunity, a chance for any type of child to take advantage of what we have to offer, so that they can make the most of their opportunity to be successful later on in life. So the Academy of the Americas is a part of that mission. It's part of the mission of us as a community servant, or a community service agency, if you will, which is kind of how I see DPS. We're here to serve the community. We're not here to turn a profit. We're here to just do our job for the people, for our children. And we just are kind of a piece in that large puzzle. that ultimately is comprised of all DPS schools. So we're happy to be a jewel that DPS is kind of looking to put out there among the other jewels that it already has. And so we're completely committed to continuing the tradition of quality education and giving our kids the best chance at a bright future and a successful future.
The second initiative in Southwest Detroit involves a new gifted and talented program at the Mark Twain School for Scholars. Twain will offer an international baccalaureate curriculum, art, band, choir, sports, foreign language, and an academic pathway to the best high schools, all designed to train our students to be citizens of this quickly growing global community. To share more of the vision for Mark Twain School for Scholars, here is Principal Linda Whitaker.
Well, at Mark Twain, we have several things going on. One, we have an accelerated academic program, which is going to make sure that the children are well-rounded and well-versed. And we also have the fine arts. We're going to have band. We're going to have sports. We're looking at soccer. And we're looking at lots of clubs and activities for the children to embark upon. Secondly, we have the International Baccalaureate Program, which is going to consider inquiry-based learning and have the children to focus on several topics: how we work with the world, what is our place and our time in it, what can we do to improve the world on a global standpoint. Well, today's job market is looking for people who are not only diverse, but who can interact with diverse cultures. And a lot of times we don't prepare our children for that interaction. They need to understand that there's different cultures out there and that they have different climates and different rules and different things in place that you have to honor and respect. So the International Baccalaureate Program is going to, first of all, teach you how to respect yourself, how to respect other people's rights and cultures, how to interact with those rights and cultures. And it's going to just make you well-rounded. It's going to take away your fear of dealing with people who are not like you. Well, the International Baccalaureate Program is going to allow children to be risk takers. It's going to allow them to take initiative to do things. That's what the inquiry-based learning is about. You know, how does that work? How do I interact with it? What can I do to find the solutions to the problems that are out there? It is not a course, it's a way of being. It's a way of looking at the academics altogether. It's also going to deal with their curiosity. It's going to deal with how they look at the curiosity as far as dealing with the academics and dealing with things that they don't understand. It's going to allow them to be performers, to interact, to not be afraid to stand up. If you have to go before a meeting or do something in front of the public, you're not going to be afraid. You're going to know this is just a part of life. It's everyday things that are happening at the school that's going to prepare you for those opportunities. Well, first of all, we're going to screen the children as they come in. And those screenings are not something that's going to say, hey, my child is smart or my child is not smart. It's going to be used as their individual development plan. So now we have a blueprint of your child that's going to say, my child needs strengthening in this area, or my child is excelling in another area. And that's something that the teachers in all subject areas can take and extend their learning. Well, our hope is that all of the children will be prepared for the accelerated program. Okay. And for those that are not, we will have some intervention tools in place. But the accelerated program is going to prepare the children for things that are coming that may be, they may consider challenging, but it's not. It's all about problem solving. You know, if you don't understand something, The key is, how do I get to the answer? How am I going to work towards that? An accelerated program is going to prepare them for that. They're going to have things at grade level, things above grade level, and then with the inquiry-based learning, things that they're going to bring into their academics that they feel is necessary to learn about. They're going to conduct surveys. You know, they're going to do projects. They're going to really interact with the academics. Well, let's say that you're interested in, let's say, space, and the child is wanting to know more about it. It's not about just going on the computer and looking up what's happening at NASA. We want the children to actually try to interface with things related to space. Get a telescope, try to do some research, call different companies that's dealing with space and technology, and come to the conclusions from that action. We don't want them just to be told. We don't want them just to read it in a book. We don't want them just to see it on the internet. We want them to discover. We want them to experience it. They are not going to learn it in the long-term memory unless they have those experiences. It's like scaffolding. You know how you have to start low and you build and you build, and that's what Mark Twain is trying to do. We're trying to scaffold the learning for success. They're going to start at the lower level and then they're going to improve at each grade level, and so that they're ready for college or for a trade school or whatever the career choice that they make. The whole point is, even with the inquiry-based learning, let's say they don't have any intentions of going to college, but they're interested in getting a career in a designated area. We're going to help that child to scaffold and build towards that area. We're going to have counselors available. We're going to have community liaisons available. We're going to have a lot of programs at the school to assist the children.
Well, a lot of people are excited about this new direction. It's new. This is the first gifted, talented school of its kind in the community. They are excited about where this school would take their students as far as in the future. They're looking forward to be a part of this new school, and they're coming in willing to support our endeavors. And so the parents are on board. They are really looking forward to this new direction. They're looking for a scholarly school to be placed in their community that will propel their students to be successful for here and on to the future. Think of a Cranbrook, you think of a Country Day, you think of a UD Jesuit, you think of those prestigious schools in those high-class communities where students are able to afford that opportunity through money. And we are able to provide that same opportunity at no cost to you. So you have that single mother who's struggling with 3 or 4 or 5 kids that wants a quality education, but due to her income, she is restricted on where she can send her child. Now DPS and Mark Twain is offering that opportunity to that mother where they will have the same education as if they were attending Country Day. That is priceless. Why move? Why go anywhere else? Because you have everything that you dream for, everything that you see on television, things that you hear from your coworkers. You could say, my child goes to a gifted and talented school, and I don't have to pay 1 red cent because the Detroit Public Schools have offered that opportunity to my son and to my daughter. Well, thus far, I started in December. And my first goal was to forge social relationships with the parents. Many times, the parents are not involved because they don't feel the school has an invested interest in their well-being. And the reason that the community coordinator is so important is because we're able to meet them where they are. We have parents that are hurting. We have parents that have shut-off notices, that are displaced homemakers, that don't have food at home, and you asking them to come in here and to volunteer, and I'm coming from a home with no lights, no heat, I can't afford to buy my children clothes. We have to make sure we provide those needs to those parents. We have to make sure we hear them and that we understand what they're going through, and not only just give them a hug, but provide them those resources to say, hey, here is the resources for you to be able to get your lights cut back on, to provide food for your family, to provide clothing for your son and daughter. That's what's for social relationships. That's what builds trust. That's what builds commitments. Because now they see that you care. I'm not just a tax dollar to you. I am someone that you have an invested interest, and you want to make sure that I'm okay, that I would ensure that my son or daughter can be successful in your school. And that is key. That's how you get your parent volunteers. That's how you get your commitment. That's how you get people that's going to be ambassadors for DPS. And so since I've been there, we have implemented the DAW program. We had over 60 people receive DAW assistant. We also have the food program. I provide free tutoring from U of D of Michigan for those students that need it. We have provided clothing for the children. We have providing housing for some of the parents that needed it. We have done resumes to help them retain jobs. And so I have been there to help those parents with the challenges that they have and to help them overcome them and to keep in contact to see what's the progress of that. And from that, I build a loyal following of parental support that I can call and say, hey, I need you to do something for me. Whatever you need, Ms. Dumas. We have sponsored kids to go to Washington, D.C. These students never had an opportunity like this. We took 15 students to Washington, D.C., as well as to Hershey Park. And we raised that money in 3 months. And we had more parental support, they said, since the history of that school. And so you see where we're moving. You see the direction that we're going, and that we are providing opportunities to the students, to the parents, and giving them experiences that they may not be able to find nowhere else but Mark Twain. We are working with the pastors in the community. I am out there going to Sunday service, meeting with pastors, meeting with their congregation, letting them know that who we are in that community, letting them know that we need help, letting them know that it takes a village to raise a child. And these congregations are willing to come on board to assist us in those endeavors, as well as their members. And so becoming visible in that Southwest community, going to various churches and speaking with their congregation and forging relationship with their pastors is giving everyone an accountability in the Southwest community to say, this is a school that needs us, and we have to step outside our pews and outside our church and go out there and help a population that is in dire need. And it is our children of tomorrow. And we have to go out there and make sure we have a vested interest in those children.
We're trying to build a person that's ready for a global society. We need that. We have to compete. And in order to compete, you need to understand. Understand about the world, understand where the world is going, understand what is needed in the world. And so Mark Twain wants to be a part of that. And DPS wants to prepare children to be a part of the global world, not just for the 21st century, but forever, for wherever it takes them in the world. Our children should understand and not be afraid to compete.
We are no longer competing with our classmates. We're no longer competing with who's the top of the class. We are competing internationally. We are competing with people in India, people in Europe, people in Africa. This is a competitive global world. And if we do not prepare our students globally for what is expected, they would not be able to compete in this world. So it is very important and vital that we put together an international curriculum where your son or daughter can go to China and do an internship there and be well versed in their culture, or go to Africa or go to Europe. If we limit our students, we are limited their possibilities.
Additional programs in Southwest Detroit include a new adult education center. Beard Southwest Detroit Adult Education and Early Childhood Community Learning Center will house a new adult English language learner program for Spanish and Arabic, as well as a pre-kindergarten curriculum, all on one campus. Also, a new 5th grade will be at Mayberry Elementary. Mayberry now houses pre-K to 4 and offers a dual language immersion program, yoga, a new golf program, music, and more. All of these wonderful things are happening with the sole purpose of training your child to be the best he or she can possibly be, to prepare them for this global community and to make them successful, responsible citizens of this city and the world. DPS, see it, believe it.